everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 204 and, as I did remind you, we'll be beginning with a new category. Today let's talk about long weekends. So what is a long weekend? Obviously, we know what a weekend is. Usually when we approach a Friday, we say, oh, finally it's the weekend. So usually we would say that Saturdays and Sundays, but together, is a weekend, even starting from Friday sometimes. But a long weekend would be an extended weekend, which sometimes, in some cases, would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even a Monday that we have off because it's a holiday or for any other reason. In that case, the weekend is lengthened or extended, so it becomes a long weekend. We can really enjoy to the fullest. So we'll talk about that, okay? As always, let's begin with actual talk.
So we've got a long weekend coming up.
Yeah.
I've got a few plans lined up. Have you?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I'm planning on going some traveling a little bit with my friends. So.
Oh, nice,
right.
nice. Actually, I'm going to go to Gangwon-do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, go in the mountains. But I'm a bit worried about the traffic.
Yeah, that's something that you kind of have to worry about because I feel like, especially weather is amazing. A lot of people want to get out of the city. So you should leave early.
Yeah, because I heard the traffic's really bad on long weekends in Korea.
Yeah, I think I heard like horror stories of how people were in the car or on the bus for like 7 hours.
Right, I've heard that.
Yeah, because there's so many people leaving and yeah, it's not something I want to be involved in.
But I mean, in Korea, I've sort of gathered through living here that people don't tend to have long official holidays at work, but there are lots of sort of government-initiated holidays or holidays every month. Yeah. And some of them sort of extended a few days.
So I heard this term from my friend recently called a sandwich day, and I think it's Konglish. And from my understanding, it's so you have like the weekend, say, you know, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday you're technically supposed to go to work, but Tuesday is also a holiday, so that one work day is like sandwiched in between like these breaks. So most places, majority of the time, they'll give you Monday off.
And if they don't, you
just call in sick, I guess. Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting term, but yeah, I think it helps when to just give people some rest, some break.
Yeah, well, I'm really ready for a small break.
Yeah.
So I hope everything goes well.
Right.
And I wish you luck on your little trip too.
Yeah, I hope you have fun and don't get stuck in traffic.
Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you enjoy the conversation between Michelle and Eugene? Just the thought of a long weekend really excites you, doesn't it? It always excites me. We do have many holidays, and sometimes people even calculate in advance. Perhaps in the beginning of the year, they take a look at the calendar for the whole entire year, and they look up the holidays, and they find out on which days these holidays fall on, and they calculate, okay, this holiday will be a long weekend. This one will be an extended weekend. This one, oh no, it's right in the middle of the week. So we often do that and hope for more and more long weekends, don't we? Okay, with that excitement, let's begin today's actual talk. Here we go. Eugene says, so we've got a long weekend coming up. And I've got a few plans lined up. And then he asks, have you? So we're obviously talking about long weekends. Here, of course, he says we have or we've got a long weekend because he's talking about one specific long weekend that is approaching, that is nearing, that is coming up. Okay? So come up means what? To approach. It's coming nearer, closer. And he says, and I've got a few plans lined up. You can say you have a few plans to do something. You can also say you have plans lined up. So if you say you have something lined up, it means that you have a great number of things prepared or a lot of things ready to do, okay, planned even. So if you say lined up, always remember a long line of something. So in this case, imagine a very long line of plans, which means you have many, many plans. And then he asks, have you? Meaning, have you got a few plans lined up as well? Michelle says, yeah, I'm actually really excited. I'm planning on doing some traveling. Okay? This is simple. I'm planning on doing something. I plan to do something. Same thing, we all know what that means, but we'll be practicing this pattern later on. Okay? Plan on doing something. Plan to do something. So her point is she's planning on doing some traveling. She's going to travel with her friends. But if you say, oh, I'm going to travel with my friends, it sounds very simple, right? It could be a very short trip. But if you say that you're planning on doing some traveling, it in most cases kind of feels like you have a lot of traveling planned. So it's not just a short trip, but rather a long trip with a lot of traveling going on. A lot of traveling from one place to another and perhaps to more than 2 more or 3 more places. We're talking about traveling to several different places. Now Eugene says, oh, nice, nice. Actually, I'm going to go to 강원도. That's where he's planning on going. But I'm a bit worried about the traffic. Aha. This is something we all worry about, especially when traveling by car or even by bus, I think. Traffic is something that we cannot just ignore, okay? Sometimes we can be stuck in traffic for many, many hours. So he says, I'm a bit worried about the traffic, implying that he's worried that there will be a lot of traffic, okay? Now, Michelle says, yeah, that's something that you have to worry about. Why? Because the weather is amazing. I know. When the weather is beautiful, it's amazing, meaning it's warm, not too hot, not too cold. We're talking about mild temperatures, very nice weather. People want to travel, right? People travel to close places just to sightsee or to try different kinds of foods. So people do travel if the weather is amazing. A lot of people want to get out of the city. So you should leave early. This is her advice. She says, the weather is amazing. So many people want to travel and you're one of them. So my advice is, hey, leave early. Leave before everybody else does. You should leave early. Yeah, I heard that traffic is really bad, meaning it's horrible on long weekends in Korea. Yeah, she says, I've heard horror stories. About what? About how people were in the car or on the bus for like 7 hours. Here we go. Let's take a look at that sentence. She says she has heard horror stories. Scary stories? What does she mean by this? She's not saying that people in cars or buses were telling each other horror stories or scary stories. In this case, she's talking about very scary stories or horror stories, meaning stories that she heard and situations she wants to avoid. So if you hear about a certain situation or if there is something you want to avoid, you can say that you have heard horror stories about something that you want to avoid it. Okay, you don't want to experience it. So she's saying she has heard stories about how people had spent hours and hours in the car or on the bus. For how long? For up to 7 hours. It's not something I want to be involved in. Okay, not something I want to be involved in. In Korea, Eugene says, I've sort of gathered through living here that there are lots of government-initiated holidays or holidays every month, and some of them sort of extend a few days. This also is a long sentence, but let's first of all take a look at the word gather. Okay, it's used in the past tense. He says, I have, sort of, I have kind of gathered through living here that there are lots of government-initiated holidays. Let's take it up to here. Now, what do you think he means by I've gathered? I've gathered. Let's make it simple. What if he said, I've sort of gathered information? What would that mean? I've gathered information. Of course, gather in that case, or in some other cases, could mean to collect. Okay? Gather means to collect. I gathered 10 coins. It means I have put together or I have collected 10 coins. But here, he's talking about learning, understanding something, or even assuming something. From living in Korea, that there are lots of many government-initiated holidays. So this is something that he has learned through experience by living in Korea. He has learned, gathered, that there are lots of government-initiated holidays. Now, what is the definition of initiate? Initiate means to begin, to start. You could start a conversation. You could initiate a conversation. In this case, something hyphen initiated means something begun, something introduced. So he's talking about government-initiated holidays, meaning holidays begun by the government. Holidays that were decided by the government, okay? And then he says, or holidays every month. And some of them sort of extend a few days. Extend means to what? To lengthen. We're talking about the length or duration of something, so to become longer. So he's talking about government-initiated holidays or other kinds of holidays, and some of them, how they become long or extended holidays. Okay, let's now move on. Now, Michelle says a lot too. I've heard this term, okay, from my friend recently called a sandwich day. Do you know what a sandwich day is? She tells us what it is. I think it's Konglish. I believe it is. Sandwich day is Konglish. And she says, from my understanding, or how I understand it, you have the weekend. Let's say Saturday or Sunday. This is an example. Let's say, for example, you have Saturday or Sunday, and then Monday, you're technically supposed to go to work, which means Monday is not a holiday, but Tuesday is also a holiday. So what happens? That one workday is sandwiched in between. Now, I'm marking a lot on this page, but do you understand? Okay, I'll read you this part once again. You have the weekend, which is a Saturday or a Sunday. So we all have, or most of us have, the weekend off. Most of us have Saturdays and Sundays off, okay? So that's 2 days off from work or school. But Monday, you go to school or to work because it's not a holiday. But Tuesday is a holiday. So what happens? Some people take Monday off so that they can enjoy Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off. So the Monday, which is a workday, is sandwiched in between the weekend and another holiday, which is a Tuesday. Do you understand? I think you know what this means, a sandwich day. Now here, sandwich is used in the verb form. We'll take a look at it later on. It means to be put in between two other things, okay? So most places would give you that Monday off. Okay, we're talking about sandwich day. So most companies or most places would give you that Monday off, meaning they will let you take that day off. Take off Monday, okay? Consider it a holiday. Now Eugene says, well, I'm really ready for a small break. Ready for something? Meaning he would like to enjoy a small break. Okay, so I hope everything goes well, and I wish you luck on your little trip too. Okay, he's talking about the trip that she has planned to go traveling with her friends. He's saying enjoy that trip And Michelle says, hope you have fun and don't get stuck in traffic. So they're both, wishing each other well and wishing each other hope when they travel on this long weekend. Okay, I do hope that you all don't get stuck in traffic either. Okay, let's take a listen to the conversation one more time.
So we've got a long weekend coming up.
Yeah.
I've got a few plans lined up. Have you?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I'm planning on going some traveling a little bit with my friends. So.
Oh, nice,
right.
nice. Actually, I'm going to go to Gangwon-do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, go in the mountains. But I'm a bit worried about the traffic.
Yeah, that's something that you kind of have to worry about because I feel like, especially the weather is amazing. And a lot of people want to get out of the city. So you should leave early.
Yeah, because I heard the traffic's really bad on long weekends in Korea.
Yeah, I think I heard like horror stories of how people were in the car or on the bus for like 7 hours.
Right, I've heard that.
Yeah, because there's so many people leaving and yeah, it's not something I want to be involved in.
But I mean, in Korea, I've sort of gathered through living here that people don't tend to have long official holidays at work, but there are lots of sort of government-initiated holidays or holidays every month. Yeah. And some of them sort of extended a few days.
So I heard this term from my friend recently called a sandwich day, and I think it's Konglish. And from my understanding, it's so you have like the weekend, say, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And then Monday, you're technically supposed to go to work, but Tuesday is also a holiday. So that one work day is like sandwiched in between like these breaks. So most places, majority of the time, they'll give you Monday off.
And if they don't, you
just call in sick, I guess. Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting term. But I think it helps to just give people some rest, some break.
Yeah, well, I'm really, really ready for a small break.
Yeah.
So I hope everything goes well.
Right.
And I wish you luck on your little trip too.
Yeah, I hope you have fun and don't get stuck in traffic.
Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our next segment, time for actual expressions. We've just got about 3 words for you right on this page. Today's actual talk conversation was pretty simple. It wasn't too difficult to understand, was it? So let's take a look at gather. Now, remember, gather can have several meanings, but here in today's actual talk, it meant to understand or learn. It can also mean to assume. But I want you to remember that gather in today's actual talk did not mean to collect. I guess it could mean to collect, meaning to understand, but it does not to physically collect things. It means to understand or learn about something. I'll give you an example. Say you met someone for the first time. You went on a blind date, okay? But nobody told you, or he or she didn't tell you how old he or she was. So your friend says, hey, how was your blind date? And you can say, he was decent. And then your friend asks you, so how old was he? You can say, well, I'm not quite sure, but I gather he's around 28. Gather in that case means to assume. You're not quite sure, but you understand or you think or assume that he is 28 or somewhere around that age, okay? So gather can be used in several different situations and have several different meanings as well. Let's move on to initiated. We're not talking about initiate, but initiated with an ed at the end. Initiated. It means something begun, something introduced. We were talking about holidays. Not just ordinary holidays, but government-initiated holidays. And what about to extend? Extend means to increase in some case, or even lengthen, or stretch. We're making something this short longer, okay? So this can actually be the length of something or the duration, the period of something that becomes longer or that becomes stretched out. Extend. So we can talk about long holidays. We can call them extended holidays as well. Okay? Let's move on to our first pattern then. Have something lined up. We can line up in a line, that's right, or we could stand in line. I want you to remember, lined up means to have many things ready or planned or prepared. Okay, a lot of things, remember. So have something lined up. I have a whole bunch of activities lined up for the party. So you have many activities lined up for the party. Meaning what? For the party, you have prepared, you have planned a lot of activities. Not just one, not two, but usually if you say lined up, we're talking about more than 5 perhaps. Okay, let's practice the sentence together. I have a whole bunch of activities lined up for the party. Good job. Okay, moving on to do something. Okay, do some and then verb ing or doing some verb ing. For example, you can say, I'm planning on spending the weekend doing some cleaning around the house. Okay? So I want you to understand that if you say doing some verb ing, like in this case, we're not talking about just cleaning a small area. We're doing lots of cleaning. You can also say, I'm planning on spending the weekend doing some exercising, which means doing a lot of exercising. Another sample sentence is, what do you say to doing the dishes now? This is very similar to what do you say to doing the cleaning around the house? What do you say to doing the dishwashing around the house or in the kitchen? Okay, so these sentences can be written in both ways, but I want you to practice saying doing some verb ing as well. Means doing a lot of something. Now, give or get a certain day off means to take the day off, okay? My boss gave me next Monday and Tuesday off. This means what? My boss told me that I could take Monday and Tuesday off. He said that I didn't have to come to work. My boss gave me next Monday and Tuesday off. Okay, may not be a holiday, but it means you don't have to go to work or to school. Job well done.